What's going on, Patriots, all the rest of you folks out there? Been a good long while since my last commentary video. So, I've had a few of you wonder, when I was going to make another one. So, here we go. Let's try making one. There's been a lot happening, I guess, the past 3 years or so since I've done one. And history is history. Talk about some of the more current things that have been going on. President Trump. Man, I was about happier than a dog with two weenies the night that we seen that come to fruition. You know, the last real president that I would say we had, of course, Ronald Reagan. And then before him, John F. Kennedy. And I truly believe that those two guys were doing what they thought was best for this country. Both of them ended up getting shot. One of them didn't survive. And oh, yeah, some of you guys used to bust my balls about smoking. Hell, I hadn't smoked a cigarette in about 9 months, but I do vape now, so yeah, may not be full on quit, but hell, it's got to be better than smoking cigarettes. So, but tangent there. Now, what does that say regarding this guy? Love him or hate him, one thing I do believe very strongly is the fact that he is trying to implement an agenda that he believes is in the best interest for the general population, not for the uber rich, not for the bankers, not for the elite class, but what he truly believes will be the best for us common folk, for the great majority of our country. Some of these policies perfect? Hell no. Some of these policies in normal situation, a normal economic situation, would definitely make things worse. But at the same time, if you look at trying to really get the economy going, there's been so much damage already done. If he's going to open the valves to let money flow to the main street, under a normal, optimal economic situation, that probably would not be the best thing to do. There'd be plenty of downsides to doing that. But whenever you're trying to, triage what we have because of the damage that's been done over the past few administrations, not just the last guy, but even the guy before him, there's some things that are not good to do, but sometimes you gotta give a shot of adrenaline straight to the heart. It might kill you, but it's about the only thing that can pull you out of what you're in. So if you look at it from that viewpoint, I definitely believe this guy's doing exactly what he believes needs to be done. But what's more concerning for me is because of this outlook that he's taken, this agenda that he's trying to take, I am highly concerned that he's going to end up in the same situation that the previous two presidents that I mentioned that I believe were real presidents. They weren't marionettes, so to speak. And I really, really hope that does not happen. I'm not entirely sure that I trust the vice president. There's a couple people in his staff that I am not happy seeing being there. I also see things that make me think that he doesn't have full control of what's going on like you would assume a president would. You would assume that, if a president gives an order, that order gets carried out. or he sets up forth an agenda, that agenda is followed. And it seems like he's only got, you know, maybe one layer deep. It's like a, you know, the general issues in order, you know, gives his officers a directive, you know, but then those officers go, you know, it's got to be passed on down the chain, you know, to the guys actually, you know, in charge of doing the work, you know, all the way down to your NCOs. And it's like, you know, the NCOs and junior officers, you know, they're not with the plan and they're not carrying it out. You know, so it's kind of like he's up there giving orders and they're not getting carried out. And there has to be a serious, you know, flushing of the old. You know, just getting rid of it. But when you're talking about something that's, you know, the entire executive branch, you know, you can't just do that overnight and still have some sort of operational capability. So he's in a very precarious situation, you know, so it's kind of like, what can he do? And I absolutely cannot stand seeing this guy in that position, to where even if I don't agree with all of his policy, I know he truly believes what he's doing is for the betterment of the citizens. And I'll tell you something else that's absolutely comical, is how you've got a lot of people on the left, you know, being extremely loony when it comes to, you know, some of the things that their opposition against him. But would you have ever in your life thought you would have seen the Republican presidential candidate waving around a rainbow LGBTQ flag on the stage at the Republican National Convention? Would you have ever in your life thought you would see something like that? You know, good, bad, you know, indifferent, whatever, doesn't matter. You know, just, would you have ever thought you would have seen something like that? I sure as hell wouldn't. But that's just a little, you know, short, little short synopsis of, you know, what I'm kind of thinking about right now. And I'm sure, you know, I'll start posting a few more of these, and maybe a little more in depth and a little more regularly like I used to. But those are my thoughts. I'm very concerned for President Trump. I'm very concerned that the deep state isn't going to let this continue. I'm very concerned about the gathering in Chantilly, Virginia that's going to be happening. Well, hell, has happened and is happening, I guess, because it's still the weekend. I'm very concerned for the next, you know, several weeks, couple of months. And just about every single prayer has a prayer in there for that man's safety. I do not, you know, I thought that if something would have happened to the last guy, that all hell would break loose. But I know some very patriotic people that if something were to happen to this president, that they feel that this is their last hope. You know, you're coming up, you're being drowned, you're coming up, and this is your last breath that you can get before, you know, it's do or die time. And are you going to be able to get a long enough breath, you know, to make it? Or is it going to be cut short and you're going to drown? And there's a lot of patriotic individuals out there that feel that like that's the position that they're in. And I would say in the past I had been tried to have been, a voice of moderation when it come to patriotic individuals, and cautioning against calls to action. And I think you know what I mean by when I say that. If you've watched a lot of those videos, a lot of them aren't up anymore, because of uh, certain situations that had logos involved, and I couldn't. My videos aren't planned. I sit down and they just come out, and they go where they go. And those weren't something that I could sit down and recreate, without some of that in the background. And but if you've been with me long, through those, you know exactly what I'm talking about, cautioning against call to action. And with this, should harm fall upon this guy, I would be very hard pressed to try to be a voice of moderation against a call to action, if you really want to know where I stand. And that's it. Hell, I believe this could be, you know, um, a final chance before judgment. You know, do or die, and that's kind of a feeling that I've got. And you know, I pray for this guy's safety. Even though I don't agree with his policies 100%, I believe his heart's in the right spot, and I hope he comes through for us, because this very well could be our last chance to turn things around before we go down that road of despotism. That like it or not, man, we are the last beacon of freedom. Where else can you go and have the same freedoms we have? And there's nowhere else to go. There's not another place we could go that has freedom, unless we try to colonize something else, and leave this rock and go out to the stars. But I don't think that's not going to happen. So that's where I'm at. Y'all have a good one.